you're a business person, you're hearing AI, 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 it's like, really? Um, and that has a lot of meanings. We're going to talk about how AI can be tamed and trained and leveraged. So the first case study I'm going to talk about is about translation. So particularly if you're in other parts of the world other than the U.S., there's always translation, and even the U.S. is becoming more Spanish in a lot of the documents, and a lot of the agreements and a lot of the contracts all have to deal with that. So there's an organization that's developed a digital assistant for consultants that do translation. And basically what it is an AI-powered NLP. And what it does is you give it a document and you say, and by the way, the name of the company is Ask Brian, that sells this to consultants and eventually to end users. And you just ask this digital assistant, translate this for me. And this saves hours and hours and hours of what I would call non-productive time. And when you have more languages, like in the European Union or Eastern Bloc, this is time savings, significant time savings. This one doesn't have as much revenue opportunity, but in fact, what it's doing is using NLP to basically translate. And what we're finding is most of the companies have a translation issue that they're dealing with. I worked at a multinational, and we had that problem all the time. If it wasn't rules, it was contracts that we had to deal with. If it wasn't, and it was local regional governments and how to deal with that. And so this particular case study, they're seeing 30% rate of return, which is a lot better than the investment hurdle rate. Even when the stock market was going full blast, it was not doing 30% rate of return. So this was more of a cost savings kind of deal. They plan on having more and more of these digital assistants for different aspects of work. As people become more comfortable with AI, they become more comfortable with NLP, if they become more comfortable with ML, machine language, we're going to see more and more of these little digital assistants pop up, almost like bots in essence, smart bots. And so we see the idea of bots coming from a couple of directions. One is from the customer perspective, and digital assistants and chat bots. Then we see the smart bots. And then we also see the robotic bots. All of them are headed towards Botville. So anyhow, that was the first case study. Do you have any questions or comments on that one?
Sure. In every case study, I want to understand, what were the challenges you mentioned, kind of, right? Not to be able to process the translation efficiently and effectively, but also what were the benefits that they saw? Can you spell it out once more?
Well, yeah, they were wasting a lot of time, and they were saying that you can guarantee almost 30% of rate of return. One of the issues, however, is that the translation isn't perfect.
Right. It still requires human, at least some check, right? Some editing and
exactly.
Fixing. Yeah, I understand. Okay.
But it cuts the bulk of the work out of it, and so. There are obvious cost saving kinds of things, but there's also frustration and turnaround time. I mean, time to market these days is so important, and this allows them to collapse the time to get certain contracts done, for instance. So, there are a lot of time benefits, cost benefits, people annoyance benefits.
People annoyance is important, yeah.
And this time, the machine's helping people, which is good.